Amanda here from createyourfuture.co. So today I have Melissa joining me. Hey, Melissa.
Hi, Amanda. Hi, everyone.
Hey guys, we're really excited because we have a video on thought transmission, and everyone, as you pushed out, we've got some commonly asked questions we are going to answer, as well as we've got a success story from one of Melissa's clients. She, after coaching together, her client got 3 new clients for her business. So really absolutely exciting, and it all involves thought transmission and everyone, as you pushed out. So just before we dive into it, guys, you know, we are giving away a free course, how to find your blocks to manifest anything fast. And the link is in the description below, as well as to Melissa's coaching if you would like. So yes, I'm excited. Let's dive into this story. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so this was a really awesome one. This is someone I just started working with, and they are starting their own new business, something they've never done before. And, you know, they had some beliefs about maybe it would be difficult to gain momentum and get clients, and you know, starting a new business is hard. You know, people won't know what I'm doing, or maybe they won't trust that I know what I'm doing because they've never heard of my brand before. And so there was a lot to unpack there, but we went through belief by belief, and she had some assumptions to counter those. And she started telling herself a new, better story about her business and the value she brings to people, and that, you know, people want the service she's providing. And literally the next day, she had 3 new clients. So it was so cool, because it's a brand new business, and who doesn't want to support someone else's new small business, right? But just, it was so awesome to see her really quickly get success when she started to change her thoughts about it. And, you know, that goes into thought transmission, and everyone, as you pushed out, right? Because as soon as you are thinking something about something, it's getting pushed out for you to experience in some way in your reality. And everyone and everything is you pushed out, meaning whatever you are assuming is true about yourself, they're going to have to show it back to you. Whatever you're assuming is true about other people in general, or specific people, they're going to have to show that back to you, because you're believing in that truth. So as soon as she started to shift the new truth to the new truth, she started to get more business, which is really cool.
I absolutely love it. And one point that I'd like to point out in your story is that, you know, her limiting beliefs were, you know, what happens if people don't, you know, see it as I do, or the benefit of it, you know. And I think that is like a huge part when it comes to manifesting and thought transmission is, what do you want the other person to think about your business? What do you want the other person to think about you? What do you want your specific person to think about you and being in a relationship with you? Because, you know, you're constantly always putting those thoughts out there. So one thing, like how I like to explain thought transmission, and you guys can definitely look this up, and I actually highly recommend Neville Goddard's book, Prayer, the Art of Believing. Chapter 5 specifically is on thought and transmission. And what he says basically is, your thoughts basically just go out like a broadcasting tower, okay? They never come into you. They only reflect back to you in your 3D. And your 3D is made up of all your previous assumptions, general assumptions, specific, I can say that word today, assumptions, you know, and sometimes they're assumptions that have been built up throughout your whole entire life, because when you have an assumption, it stays in play until you change said assumption, right? So the other thing that I think we hear a lot of is, you know, people not sure who created what. So if 2 people say want to manifest Jerry, me, and whose intention is going to win? Say me and Melissa are both manifesting Jerry. Whose intention is going to win? Well, if it's you thinking this, and you get to choose whose intentions win. So always intend that they're your intentions that win, because you're the only person in your reality, and everybody is just basically getting your radio signal. Okay. So if you think the other person's intention is going to win, then their intention is going to win. And you're basically giving away your power, because you have the power to decide, hey, look at, you know what, all of my thoughts will always win. You know, there was another comment on the YouTube channel, and I thought it was interesting, basically saying, well, you know what, if you guys are these creators, you know, why aren't you at 100,000 subscribers? Well, excellent question. That's basically like saying to us, hey, you guys are excellent creators. Why aren't I rich and win the lottery yet? Because we can't create in your reality, okay? So if you're seeing something in your reality, you've 100% created it. It's there for you to witness because it was your thoughts that actually created it. Nobody can create in your reality. And so you can never look at it from another point of view, okay? So it's like, if I'm witnessing something, okay, then I'm the one actually creating it. And I can't say to Andrew, why did you manifest that in my reality? Well, no, he can't manifest anything in my reality. It's only me. So we can never look at it from somebody else's point of view. So let's say, for instance, you know, Jerry, he like, I don't know, finds a new relationship and he's unhappy. And then I'm like, oh, Jerry, why are you manifesting that? Well, we can't look at it that way. I have to look at it. I've manifested Jerry being unhappy in that relationship because I've created all of it. Now, that doesn't mean I have to be a doormat and take the blame for everything. All I need to do is to change my assumptions about what's actually going to happen and say, okay, well, I intend Jerry's happy in his relationship, right? You know, or I can even intend, I'm going to give Jerry some advice and he's going to use that advice and his relationship is going to be better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you could help other people with your assumptions as well. I mean, you can help them to have things show up better in their reality based on whatever you're assuming is true about them and, you know, in general, your assumptions, right? As soon as you shift your assumptions, circumstances will shift to reflect it.
Exactly. So we can never say, Jerry, why are you creating that? Because if you're the one witnessing it, you've created it.
It's always from your own perspective, your own perception of what is happening.
Exactly. So it only goes one way and we can only look at it from our point of view and take responsibility for our thoughts and assumptions that go out. But don't take it personally and blame yourself. That's not, you know, what this is about. I think you had one you were going to talk about with, you know, does thought transmission work when people are sleeping?
Oh, yeah. I saw a question. Someone was asking, does it work if the person you're thinking about is sleeping? And the answer is yes, it's always working. It's never not working. And so, you know, whatever assumptions you are holding of somebody else, they are always going to project that back to you. If you don't like them, change them. If you like them, keep them how they are.
Exactly. So, you know, thought transmission is always happening. Everybody's always overhearing your thoughts. Now, I think where sometimes we get confused is it's like, is everybody always reflecting back my thoughts? Yes, but are they always your blocks? No, because let's put it this way, like, okay, so let's say Jerry's like my friend and he's a total complainer. And that's my assumption about him, that he's a complainer. Now, when he comes over and starts saying, I'm trying to manifest, I don't know, a relationship. And he comes over and starts complaining about, you know, how relationships never work out and like, you know, and love always ends in heartbreak. Now, with him complaining about that, does that necessarily mean that they're my limiting beliefs? Absolutely not. I've got an assumption that he's always complaining and he's always negative. So that has to show up. So when you get the feedback from your reality, you know, it's a question of, okay, well, how did I create that? Because there could very well be too that Jerry is reflecting back your negative blocks and your limiting beliefs because, you know, you've got, you know, the no assumption that he's always negative and you have been thinking about that. Do you know what I mean? So it really comes down to how you're actually creating things, meaning what thoughts have you been having and holding for that to be reflected back in your reality? And, you know, there's only one person that can answer that question, and that's the person holding those thoughts. Of course, you know, like, you know, your friends and coaches can help you dig down and figure out, you know, where those thoughts came from. Like, I remember, you know, it was so funny when I first started coaching, I would want like the afternoon off because I wanted to go out for lunch with Andrew, and I would like intend to have the afternoon off and clear my schedule. And then all of a sudden everyone would reschedule. Like I say to Andrew in the morning, I'm like, oh, I wish I had the afternoon off so we can like go for lunch. And he was like, yeah, that would be nice. I'm free. And I'm like, well, I got to work. And then all of a sudden everybody would reschedule, like just so energetically. And then I would be like, Andrew, I don't understand why my schedule's empty. And he was like, you just said this morning you wanted the afternoon off, right? So, you know, when, you know, other people can help us figure out what we're thinking, you know, maybe from things we've said or whatever, right? But ultimately, right, it's for you to decide. So if you're not sure something's being reflected back, is your assumption about them, or is like, one of your blocks. I mean, what I do is I'm just like straight up, I'm like, well, I intend Jerry's always positive, and I intend relationships work out for me. No harm in actually just throwing that out there for the universe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, you don't necessarily have to know what moment you created that belief, or, that thing that you're seeing that you don't like. You just have to know what you want and affirm for that instead, and start changing what you're believing is true about the circumstance or the person.
Exactly. So we are complicated creatures, and our thoughts are things, and we think a lot of them in a day. So how many of them are being thrown out there? And and things that show up in our reality, I mean, it could be as easy as just a general belief of, some people are nice, some people aren't nice. I mean, and then, it's got to come back at some point. Do you know what I mean? So, it's always the best to focus on what you want. And if you see something reflect back in your reality that you don't like, I mean, it's simple. It's like, okay, well, what do I want instead? Or do I even want to change that? You don't have to change everything in your reality. You only have to change it if it's in the way of what you actually want. So if someone's being mean to you and you want everyone to like you, then yeah, if someone's mean to you, you might want to change it to everybody likes me. You know what I mean? But if it doesn't bother you, then it doesn't bother you, right? Like things don't need to be changed.
Yeah. And something I like to do too, if something's showing up and I don't like it, or it seems like it could be negative and I don't really know what belief is causing it, I'll just decide, you know what? I can't really figure it out right now, but everything's going to work out just fine. Everything works out perfectly. Everything always works out in my favor. I'm not going to be concerned about this. And it always ends up working out. It's just that takes the pressure off having to figure out, oh my gosh, what exactly did I think what exactly am I assuming to make this show up?
Exactly. So yeah, I think the biggest takeaway is that, nobody can manifest in your reality. And everything you witness in your reality, hear about, is something that you've created from your thoughts, and nothing out there is happening independently. Like Jerry isn't sitting there manifesting his own life and without your energy. He is basically, how they say that we're all one? We're literally all one. Everybody is a piece of you. It's in quantum physics. It's one basically atom or whatever it is has been like basically in many different places at the same time. Everybody is you. We are all one. We're all whoever's looking at it. So in my reality, everyone's me, and Melissa's reality, everybody's her. And you can only look at it that way. So you can't say to Jerry, why are you creating that? Why are you manifesting that? Why aren't you manifesting this? Because Jerry is not able to manifest anything in your quantum bubble. It's only you. So it only works if we take responsibility for everything that we see. So if we see something that we don't like, then we change it, right? When we question and go, well, why are you creating that, Jerry? It just pushes them apart. Do you know what I mean? Like we're just pushing them away because we're not taking responsibility, and things aren't going to change. Do you know what I mean?
Right. They don't change unless you change your assumptions, and sometimes it takes a little bit of like, humility and being real with yourself. Like, what am I really thinking is true about this person or this thing, and sometimes that can be uncomfortable, but that's when you can have huge breakthroughs. Just start to always assume the best, because you can't fail. You'll get the best back in every way.
Exactly, because it's your reality, and it's so funny too, like there'll be times where I'll have negative thoughts and then it'll pop up and I'm like, oh my goodness, right? And then I'm like, no, positive thought. And then all of a sudden a positive thought will show up and manifest back. And I'm like, yeah, always working, So, I mean, I don't take anything too personally. Just be the observer, and it's like, and you can like literally wipe people's memories. Like I intended that Andrew never remembers anything bad, and he never remembers anything bad. It is so funny. He completely forgets things that I'm like, no, he's going to forget all about that. And then I'm like, I remind him, he's like, oh, I forgot. I'm like, I know you forget a lot of things, right? But I intended that, So, I mean, you have control over everything, if there was a bad situation in a relationship, you revise it, you change what you're thinking the other person is thinking, and they have no choice but to change their thoughts about it, right?
Yeah. And the sweet spot really is when you can get to the point where you can be an indifferent observer of everything always. The sky's the limit for what you can manifest for yourself, because you're never going to be spiraling and super bothered by something because you know you can just easily shift into what you're going to assume is true about it. So if you can just observe what's happening instead of making it mean something bad and reacting and spiraling, you will have so much better success getting what you want, and it'll happen so much faster.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I intend that this video has helped people to understand everyone is you pushed out. Pardon me. Thank you so much for being here today, Melissa.
Thanks, Amanda.
And guys, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And Jerry, we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.